Dear friends, welcome to this evening's version of this thing of ours. I'm your host, Uncle Lenny. How are you? Tonight's subject matter is ostensibly Kamala and Tampon Timmy will be crushed decisively on November the 5th. We have a lot to discuss. First, welcome. Thank you so much for being a part of us. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. It's critical. Be surprised the number of people who say, "Hey, I was unsubscribed." Well, we're gonna fix that. My friends, there's so much to discuss. We're going to be talking tonight about a very serious question. A question that is so fantastic. And it's a question that was at first advanced by one Candace Owens in one of the most decisively beautiful cross-examinations and prosecution as to the issue of, is Kamala white? Now, on two separate occasions, for those of you who are members of Lionel Nation, if you are a member of the family, if you are a member, you can go right now and see a video I did where I go through the issues of asking the question, is it relevant? Is it really important? Is it relevant as to what her race is, vis-a-vis what she said, what she claimed? And on Lionel Legal, go there and subscribe, my friends, to Lionel Legal. I ask the same question, but the question then is it legally relevant? Is it perjurious? Can she be subject to prosecution? What is the legal status of race? What is the legal status of somebody who makes a claim when running for office? That's Lionel Legal. I want you to go right there. Make sure you sign up. Make sure you make it. This is the corollary to what we're doing. And I look at it from a legal point of view and the prosecutorial point of view. And my theory is a little bit of a spoiler alert. There's a doctrine of opening the door where you put something into evidence, you put something into issue, which you originally did not have to. So that, dear friends, as I told you, is Lionel Legal. Okay? Now, let's talk about something that's important. Is there going to be an October surprise? People have been asking me that. Is there going to be an October surprise? And I say, oh yeah, there is. Yeah, I say so. There's an October surprise, all right. And it's something which is very, very fascinating. And the October surprise is a strike that nobody sees coming. This isn't some run-of-the-mill usual strike. This is a strike which politicians, avoid at all costs. It's estimated at this this dock strike that the strike's economic impact could range from a low of, listen to this, $2 billion with a B, $2 billion per week to $4 billion a day. This supply chain disruption is going to create economic and logistical and supply dislocations and dismemberments that will persist for weeks or perhaps months, maybe even longer, even after the strike is settled. And before Pops Biden went to Rehoboth Beach, before he did, he stated he is not going to invoke any kind of authority under the Taft-Hartley Act. He's not going to direct the Attorney General to seek injunctive relief to suspend the strike pending assistance from the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service. Nope. It's been invoked by other presidents dozens of times. Nope. And there's no indication that anyone in the administration is responsible or is addressing the issue. The vice president is doing whatever she's doing, talking about her race or what she's not. So where is acting Labor Secretary Julie Sue? Where is Pete Booty Giggity Giggity, who's the Transportation Secretary? Where's Commerce Secretary Gina Raimundo. That's where they are. That's where they are. That's where they are. And as I told you before, the guy, Harold Daggett, has absolutely, probably, I think, provided one of the most insightful reviews of what's to come with this ominous and most frightening.
People today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead.
Now, the good news, ladies and gentlemen, the good news is the dock strike is over. Announced just before we went live, just as we speak. The union and the Maritime Alliance have agreed to a tentative deal on wages. The two sides have extended their existing contract through January of 2025 to provide time to negotiate a new contract. I hope this is done. The move ends a strike that had snarled East Coast and Gulf Coast ports. And that man, Mr. Daggett, is now a hero. Now, whatever happens, whatever is done, whatever is said, you're gonna hear about him being basically a thug or something. He made people understand what happens. If something goes wrong, if there is a snarl, if there is a problem, and if somebody, God forbid, I hope it never happens, because I don't want strikes. I don't want things like that. But we were notified as to how precarious things are. And this government, this administration, never lifted a finger. So let me just say something, my friends. There is going to be a moment in our history, a moment in our time, something that is going to cause us to remember that we will have nobody to support us, nobody to help us in the event of some horrific event, whether it's natural, whether it's another Helene, or whether it's just a breakdown of God knows what. That's why, my friends, I want to take this opportunity to remind you, while everything is cool and calmer heads have prevailed, go to preparewithlionel.com. Do not think, well, that's okay. Everything's great now. No, they've been telling you specifically, this is what's happening. He explained to you what would happen. He said, this is what would happen. People, there was a rush. They were talking about toilet paper. Don't feel like everything's great. No. Don't be panicked. But in the event, this is the part that I've always worried about the most. I don't worry so much about there being external problems vis-a-vis, rogue governments. I always worry about insurrection from within, where the criminal element is the problem. So go to preparewithlionel.com. Just remember, ammo, water, supplies, food, preparation. Let me also explain something to you. And this may not be the particular venue. Have you heard what a lot of people are questioning about? What a lot of people are asking questions about specifically regarding in North Carolina, this particular mountain, this mountain that they were hoping to lithium mine. Did you hear this story? Now, I'm not saying anything. Oh, no, no, no. Don't think for a moment I'm interposing some dread conspiracy theory. But there's a whole bunch of folks out there who are asking the question whether there is whether if how propitious it was for there to be this horrible, terrible redirection, if you will, of weather towards this area that would make the area uninhabitable. Does that make sense? So therefore, releasing, I'm not saying this. And by the by, this is the link for Lionel Legal. So make a note of this. I'm not suggesting, but you have to know where to go. I talk about this on my private channel. You've got to know where to go in terms of theories that have been posited about whether it is possible to redirect or to direct storms. Is it possible? Do you understand how this, have there been experiments? What has been done regarding cloud seeding? What has been done regarding a variety of things of using means and methodology to direct, to veer? I mean, think about this. I know, how crazy is this? Let's assume, just for the sake of argument, you wanted a mountain or an area to mine rare earth metals or lithium or whatever it was. And you had a bunch of people there who said, no, we don't want you to do that because of the environmental problems, because whatever, blah, blah, blah. What if I could redirect it? What if I could say, okay, what if I could, now hear me out. I know this sounds crazy. I'm not suggesting this. Oh, no, no, no. I'm not suggesting this in the least. But what if I was able to somehow reposition, readdress, reharness, something that would be advantageous to me? Let's assume that I wanted to go out one day and I said, I'm China. And let's assume that I want to be involved in this horrible, terrible, god-awful, I want to get Taiwan. And I'm able to kind of redirect or fix. I'm not even saying that. I don't even know how that would even be possible. But William Cohen said it and others. Now, what I just suggested to you, my friends, is something that, to me, warrants not worry or fear, but further investigation, because I want to know specifically how these things work. If I could control weather, if I could do this, oh my God. What if I found out that there was a particular area in the Pacific that there were tectonic plates that worked accordingly, like this? What if I was able to redirect or to force a Tesla-like wave right into that tectonic juncture? What if I were able to do that? What if I were able to do that? And they get an earthquake. And with the earthquake comes the wave, tidal wave, right there. Is that possible? Is that even possible? What if I was able to use, by virtue of what's been sprayed, admittedly? You see, this is what I'm telling you. You don't jump on an idea just because it sounds great. You don't jump on something just because it's possible. You jump on an idea because it's something worth thinking. George says, doc strike over announced before you went live. Thank you, George. Good news. So celeb and politicians are the October diddler surprise. I don't know what that means, but thank you. If it continued, I'd go to the West Coast for twice and thrice the rate loads for you, Lionel Nation. Thank you kindly for the opportunity. Thank you as well. And old Buddha says, next 33 days are going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. Tesla has patents on ocean wave electricity. You do realize that they say that we're crazy. We're crazy. They say that we're nuts. We say that we're foolish because we're able to think a little bit outside of the box and ask ourselves a very serious question as to whether something could ever happen. You see, what I want to do is, if I want to go into a country, if I want to get them, I want them to be freaked out. I want to disrupt everything about their usual life. And I want to do something, and I want to do everything in my part. Let me ask you something, just while we're on the subject. What would happen right now? Anything that happens between now and November, the October surprise, anything that happens will be attributed and blamed towards the Biden administration. Don't you understand that? Anything that happens, anything, it's their fault. They were in charge. You following what I'm saying? You following what I'm saying? This is the most incredible thing in the world. CR, by the way, bless your heart, gifted a membership. Thank you, CR. Brad Rung says, just received my mail in the ballot in Pennsylvania. Love. All right, Rung, ring your bell. Nelson A says, October surprise, ABC got caught feeding Kamala the questions on debate. Maybe. That's not going to work. That doesn't make any difference. Nobody cares about that because we expect it. Nobody expects that. Just like this January 6th thing that they're trying so desperately to throw at Trump, it's a waste of time. Lori Cook says, they say we're crazy until they say that's old news. See, I like somebody who thinks different ways. Everybody who's ever thought of something unique started off with something that was perceived to be at least crazy at first. I see nothing crazy about it in the least. Nothing. Now, let me tell you something right now. This is another thing which is the most fascinating to me. Like I said, I did two different stories. One here, later on it drops, and then another one on Lionel Legal. Candace Owens is a royal pain in the ass to Kamala, and I love it. I love what she's doing. I love what she's saying. I love everything about what she has done. Everything. And she took it upon herself to decide or to look into the investigation of whether Kamala was white. Nikola Tesla had patents on ocean wave electricity, and Diddy politician and celeb folk involved are the October surprise. Maybe. The only problem with that, Crypto, is that a Diddy, unless it involves Kamala herself, which I don't believe. Well, it's not enough that there just be some surprise. Linda Hazlitt says, how will Helene victims vote? Interesting. How will they vote? And I know they will vote most probably Republican, but how will they physically do it? It's a wonderful point. I have no idea. That is an excellent point. Excellent. Flojo's vlog says wildfires, Canada, Hawaii. They think we're crazy. Oh, absolutely. I remember the night that, my story is, I believe that something that we talk about now should inspire more investigation. It's not proof positive of anything, but it should inspire it. It should make you and other people say, oh, okay, I got it. I got something. Okay, let's look into this. Ever heard the stories about how the notion of inoculation and worked, where people went? I mean, if I told you how somebody said, let's take the carcasses of rotting, fetid wildlife and pull up, what? And later on, they gave way to vaccines. Here's my story. You ready for this? Let me tell you my story before we get to the Kamala story. This is me. This is some crazy, wild science fiction story I want to do. I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying this is what I would do. Number one, I would, over a period of time, absolutely electrify. I would fill the atmosphere with nanoparticulates that people would inhale. metallic substances, whether it's strontium or barium, who knows what it is. But over a period of time, they were just breathing and breathing. I would do something over a period of time to actually change the chemical composition of their blood and their organs. And then one day I would then turn on my 6G powerhouses and that could be anything from to sterility, to insanity, to complacency, to whatever it is. I don't know. I'm fascinated by this. CR says, white guy for Kamala, Garth Brooks accused of sexual assault today. Yes, I saw that. Not good. He remained, he is certainly presumed innocent. Laurie Cuck says, crazy to lie about your race and run for POTUS. Well, let me ask you a question. What is black? What is white? Is an Asian white or black? Now, when we say Asian, an Asian, under the old classic Margaret Mead kind of interpretations of such. There was Caucasoid, Mongoloid, Negroid. I think Malay was another one. But somebody who was black, Punjabi, Mumbai, whatever it is, black, Delhi, Indian, Asian, black, dark, is Caucasian. And it had nothing to do with the color of the skin. It's more with physiognomy and other kinds of stuff like that. Leslie Watson says, that's for the sound effects. Thank you. Thank you. If you find out that she is not black, let's assume, I mean, I'm listening to something. Can this be? Her grandmother was Irish. She was Asian, whatever it is. If you're going to lie, ladies and gentlemen, whatever happened to Rachel Dolezal? Why was Rachel Dolezal run out of town for claiming she was black? They went crazy over her. They went berserk. Remember that? I thought they were going to indict her. How dare you say you're black? You want to be black? You want to be black? You don't even know how you're talking about. You want to be black. How dare you want to be black? Can't be black. Just how dare you be doing? Okay, want to be how dare you can't. You could be a man. Wow, that's a different story. You could be a transition. Wow, it's a different story. Well, you can claim you're a sort of a. It doesn't matter what I'm saying. How dare you cannot? Don't you ever even intimate? Don't you suggest for a moment? Remember that? I never understood it. Never understood it. What if she's not? What if negritude, whether she's sepian, what if somebody were to sit there and say, you're not black? She also is lying, according to Candace Owens, about having been that little girl who was subject to segregation. California desegregated in 1947 or something. She's lying. Crypto, what do you think? What are we supposed to do with this? She found a controversy, not a conspiracy, with, okay, bored. Now, Scott Jennings. You know who Scott Jennings is? I love this guy. Watch Scott Jennings.
President in office.
Okay, so everybody seems to be worried about J.D. Vance.
She thought she was so, this woman, I don't know where they got her from, but she thought, I'm going to outdo this guy. I'm going to outsass Scott Jennings. I don't know who the hell she is, but I'm going to show him what's going on. And watch old Scott just look at you. See, he's looking at you like, I'm going to lay into her and I watch this.
We have an old president in office.
Okay, so everybody seems to be worried about J.D. Vance and dishonesty, or Donald Trump and dishonesty. I never hear the same concern about Harris and the lies that she tells about Trump, or in Walz himself, who
Mm-hmm.
gave the most disastrous response to a question about his own dishonesty about being in Tiananmen Square that I've ever heard in a debate. He also did the same thing with Dana Bash when questioned about dishonesty a couple of months ago. And effectively what he has said is, sorry, guys, I'm too dumb to tell the truth. I mean, he called himself a knucklehead. I have bad grammar. This is a guy who holds himself up to be a school teacher and a coach. Is that the life lesson he's giving the kids that are under
Yes.
his care? Hey, you can lie, and then you can just kind of slough it off as being, you know, too dumb to tell the truth. I think we spend 99% of our time going down rabbit holes about Vance and Trump and honesty in campaigns, and we spend no time at all holding Walz and Harris to the same standard, and I don't understand it.
Let me tell you something right now. CNN is smart because they have him on there. CNN knows what's going on. Brad Wrong, everybody, says, always want to ask you, what was the highest profile case you ever brought against someone or defended against you? And did you win? You keep it up. I will. Sometimes there's a couple. I'd rather not talk about it because number one, I'd rather it to be. I'm sure people would say, "Hey, don't bring this up." Gotcha. I can talk about the subject matter, but as far as cases go, sometimes people want. If I tell you the name of somebody, they might say, I mean, let's say I represented you either suing somebody or something that you were involved in and we were successful. Do you want me to tell people? No. But thank you very much. I've had, though, frankly, some cases, one in particular, it was an attempted first-degree murder that was still unbelievable. Oh, I got to tell you something quick before I forget. Has this happened to you? And then we'll get back to Kamala. A little timeout. Today I was looking up I'm doing an email for Mrs. L, and I looked up and said, oh, this guy's first name is the name of a guy that I used to be buddies with. I haven't seen him in the neighborhood. I have just lost track of him. Good guy. And I was wondering, I wonder where he is. And I typed in his name. He died 4 years ago. 48 years old. He would be 52 now. And I haven't seen him in. Have you ever had that? Have you ever had that moment? Oh, I miss you, Lori. Oh, no, dear heart. I miss you. You know I miss you. I miss you even though you haven't gone. Hang on a minute. Lori says, hang on a minute. We'll get to the bottom of this before I go to my sad story. But it's more important. It's more important. Hang on a minute. Oh, Lori says, she's pretending to know what slaves went through for votes. Yes, puke. Oh, I agree with you 100%. Anyway, do you ever have somebody that you kind of sort of knew and they died and it like hits you like, even though you haven't seen them, a weird kind of an extraneous, somebody you knew, pal, friend, and you think, oh God, it's the weirdest thing. I've been trying to identify what this feeling I have. Sadness, yeah, but there are people that I know who are much closer, and I respond to maybe their death with less of a surprise. Anyway, I'm sure you've had that. Joseph Sola says, can you clarify the legal aspect of Obama's alterations to media facts? We seem to be affected, perhaps, on Lionel legal. Thanks for your courage. The legal aspects of Obama's alterations to media facts. Oh, you're talking about the... what's the name of it? You know what I'm talking about. This is the propaganda statute. Anyway, that's a good point. Let me ask you a question. Let's go back to this. Sometimes when somebody says something, and I talk about this at Lionel Legal, there's a thing called opening the door. And opening the door is something you do not want to hear. Opening door is the worst thing that ever happened. Opening the door is when, for example, let's say you stipulate with the judge ahead of time, listen, do not bring up my client's prior record. Okay, you got that? And the judge issues either a motion in limine or an agreement. And the prosecutor says, okay, we won't mention it. But during the course of you, let's say on direct examination of your client, you bring up something about a record or being arrested. And you hear this, Your Honor, may we approach a bench? And you think, oh no. And the judge said, Counselor, you just opened the door. What do you mean? You opened the door. You took something that was not subject to debate, not subject to discussion, not subject to anything, and you made it now an issue by virtue of your bringing up the subject. Do you know what you just did? You brought up the issue. You don't want to hear. You opened the door. One time there was this great case, and somebody had this. The rules of evidence are tough about. You can't ask questions like, you're supposed to ask, have you ever been convicted of a felony or a crime involving dishonesty, a criminal fallacy crime? That's the one thing you can ask. You can't say, have you ever been arrested or convicted of a crime? It's got to be a felony or whatever it is. Unless they open the door. And this one guy was doing this. Now, let me tell you something. He goes, and do you know what this is? He says, no, what? He goes, it's your rap sheet. He goes, he opened the door. And the judge said, wait a minute. No, stop it. Nobody opened the door just because he said, what is that? It's your rap sheet. Now we can talk about your rap sheet. No. It was clever, but didn't work. You see, when you come along and you claim something, like nobody gives a damn about whether Walz is a coach in a football team until he claims he was the winning coach of this high school that was zero. Oh, no, it was 27 in zip or whatever the hell it was. And he was just maybe a kind of a sort of a defensive whatever. He lied about that. He opened the door. Nobody cares about his drunk driving arrest until he said, I wasn't drinking. And his lawyer said, no, we pled because you were over the limit. You lied about that. You opened the door. Nobody cares about whether his wife had IVF until you said it was IVF and it wasn't. You opened the door. I mean, all this stuff, nobody cares about this stuff, these lies. Nobody cares about whether you were a command sergeant major until you said you were. Then you lied. You opened the door. So if this woman comes along and she says, and I'm black, and I had to suffer busing, you went to some posh school. What if it's complete and total, pardon my French, bullshit? What do you do? Does it become relevant? You damn right it becomes relevant, because sometimes when people lie about stuff, when people try to be something they're not, I love when people listen, do you know, obviously you do, I don't know, I've never had this happen to me, but I'm a little bit aware the horror that people had to go through of racism in this country. Do you have any idea of what they had to go through? Yes, you do. Black people, Jim Crow, blacks and whites. We had at our old courthouse, listen to this, we had in the old courthouse, there were two water fountains. One, you know where you kind of, they were like old water fountains where they're recessed, where you actually kind of put your head in. There's a water fountain. And they were right next to each other. And we just thought they were just two. He goes, no, one was white, one was black. They're very close to each other. And the reason why you knew the white one, because the water was cold. And the chief judge at the time said, leave it up. Leave it up. Because I want people to be able to see this. I'm not going to tell you for a moment that I know what it's like to be black at the time. But when you're wearing this as a badge of honor and you're making it up, Lori says, Tina Peters got 9 years. That's indeed. I can't say that. I was watching that today. It's very interesting. The judge was excoriating her. This is the voting system data scheme. Former Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters, sentenced to 9 years. 9 years. That's 9 years. People that get 9 years for murder. It's disgusting. Nelson A says, I'm afraid Trump wins. Recession occurs in bingo. They blame him for it 8 years. For Dems, I think Dems smell the funk. What do you say? Trump says, good. You know what? Blame me. Blame me. Go ahead. Blame me. I don't give a damn. Blame me. Just elect me. See, this is a story. He has got to go out. Remember what I told you about something. I only care about things that you're upset about. If you go crazy over the fact that, remember when they said she was Asian, I didn't know, I thought she was black. They went crazy over that. That's what you stick with. Not this January 6th Jack Smith stuff. Nobody cares about that. Nobody even understands it. You go for that. And you keep telling people in Springfield they're eating cats. Don't let up. What is the matter with you? The people who are going to vote for you are not going to leave you. Did you see that Bruce Springsteen endorsement today? Oh, Bruce, you can't be serious. What, do they got a gun to your head? Do you owe them? Maybe because you got out of that DUI years ago. Remember that one? Director 97 says, did Trump wife say that she is not voting for him? No. I don't believe so. No, I think she's pro-choice or something. Or listen, Director, I got some mixed feelings on Melania. I really do. I mean, bless her heart and everything, but I don't trust her. Never did. Steven says Kamala's family tree has been book cooked. Ooh, I like that. Is that what the kids call it today? You go for that. Like I told you, there are people who are going to vote for him and people aren't going to vote for him. But somebody would say, they're going to eat what? Cats? I've got a friend of mine. He and I, bless his heart. He does this. Have you ever had Jewish people tell you Happy New Year and you're not Jewish? It's okay. Maybe they think I'm Jewish. I don't know. I say, okay, thank you. I don't tell my Jewish friends Merry Christmas. Happy Easter. I mean, it's okay. I'm not going to get upset over this. I'm just saying, but isn't that something? It's like either it's presumptuous or you think I'm Jewish. It's okay. No problem. That's not but it's one of those things. Maybe that's not a big deal for you here, but it's a big deal here. Okay. Going back to what's going on here. I've been telling you for the the reason I brought his name up is whenever he brings something, he goes, well, did you see what they're doing with Melania? I said, they're eating cats in Springfield, Ohio. And that's my reaction. So I don't know what you're so worried about Melania Trump. You should be down there trying to help because you've got cats, you've got pets, and you love your dog. What if some Haitian and I'm kind of embellishing. And he said, would you stop saying that? I said, but it's true. Why don't you care about them eating cats? Quit saying they're eating cats. Now, how do you think somebody would say, hey, did you hear this? Hey, buddy, did you hear that? That guy Lenny said that they're eating what? Did you hear this? No. Where the hell have I been? How many times have you heard people say, where have I been? Now, hang on now. What was this now? That's right, buddy. Budrow, they got a bunch of Haitian guys who can't drive worth of shit, and they don't have licenses. And when they get out of the car, because I guess I don't know, because they're poor people, they bless their heart. They don't know anything about McDonald's or whatever it is, but they eat, they see what's around, and they're used to it. So if they see your little feline friend there or some goose, they don't just gobble the goose. They just they take the head off, and and that's good eating them goose. Those Muscovies, the geese are damn good. That's a duck, mind you. But yeah, they're doing that. Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, you got the picture of these bad people at the city council, county commission. Hell, they're up there screaming, "Would you help me? These damn Asian people are. I got my beautiful ducks and my cat, and they're eating them up. And you better do something about this." Directory says, if all of the felons like me that got screwed because of corruption came out and vote for Trump, we will win big. Felons for Trump 2024. Don't forget, Jesus was a felon too, and Jesus was guilty. Pilgrim Media says, do you have a red or white wine with a cat? Oh, dear God. You know what, Pilgrim? I've never understood this. So help me God. I don't think pets should be, but this kind of speciesistic, oh, I can't eat a cat. I can eat a chicken. What's wrong? What's the difference between well, they're free range. What the hell does that mean? I don't know what it means, but that's gross. I can't. If somebody told me I could eat, I don't particularly care for, animal flesh, but if in my days I'd try it, no problem. I mean, of course, if it was a little legal in the country and all that stuff, I'd have no problem with it. Absolutely not. I'll never forget one time Andrew Zimmern said one of the most delicious meats he ever had was mule. Crypto says 4 likes. Is it McDonald's or McDonald's? Oh, I like that. I think it's MC. Isn't that? Yeah, it's MC. I believe that is. That's like Judge McGregor and Norm MacDonald. Have you noticed that one? Norm MacDonald, MAC. I think what the president needs to do right now is double down because we are in the stretch. Think about this. Also remind you, my friends, we have a very serious thing. October the 26th at the cutting room. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't want to talk about this. But I would sit at the last minute. I would get every black person, every Twitter, everybody, and sit there and say, what do you think? And the best part is today is Al Sharpton's 70th birthday. He has this thing called Keeping It Real. He has a show called Keeping It Real. Okay. What if somebody claims to be black and they're not? What do you say about that? I think that is the lowest form of mendacity. It's like stolen valor. I don't know about you, but I love Don Shipley. Do you ever watch Don Shipley? I love him. What's your Bud's class number? You ever watch? I love this. They nail these people. These people say, Don, you got to help me. My wife, my grandma married. There's some guy's trying to get her money. I don't know why I'm talking like this so much. And he says he's a Navy SEAL, and I don't think he is. Can you talk to him? Can I put you on the phone with him? Sure can. All right, hang on a minute. Hey, Gary, yeah, listen, I got a buddy of mine on here. And Don Shipley, the Navy SEAL, UBS underwater, Bud's 183, whatever his site is. He says, hey, shipmate. And he always looks at the camera like, he goes, I understand you were a Navy SEAL. And his expressions kill me. You sure was? Yeah. Hey, well, how about that? That's great. He goes, by the way, what's your Bud's class? Basic underwater demolition and SEALs. He says, 120. 120, huh? Yeah, that's interesting. Well, what year would you graduate from? CR, by the way, says, have you seen James O'Keefe's new upcoming movie about the border? No, but I did, CR, I did see his latest gotcha. There we go. All right. I don't want you people screaming and yelling. Are you screaming and yelling about the sound? There we go. Muted. I know audio. There you go. I'm all right now. You got it? I'm all right. Hang on now. Very good. I saw that just for a second. I thought, oh my God, they're going to be going crazy. Some of these people will say, I don't have nothing to say, but whenever that microphone goes off, I go completely batshit crazy. I just scream up and down. I go, sound. Thank you so much for that. Where was I? Anyway, Don Shipley, he'll say, well, I have a database here of all of the Navy SEALs, and you say you were 128 and you graduated in 1984. No. That class graduated 20 years later or 5 years. You weren't a Navy SEAL, and your name doesn't show up. Can you think of anybody in your Bud's class? Well, I don't remember. He says, I can tell you half of the people I was with. Can you give me a commanding officer? No. Can you tell me? I mean, they lie. It's stolen valor. Well, what do you call them when somebody lies about their race? I don't understand it. What do you do when somebody lies about their race? It just kills me. Brad Rung said the women that represented the NAACP did it. That's right. That's Rachel Dolezal. It's the back face. Thank you so much. When a vice president cannot get a handle on basic life-threatening emergencies for our nation in trouble at times, she has no business being commander-in-chief in November, Trump 2024. Oh, that's absolutely correct. Absolutely, indubitably correct. Edie Crowley says green dream green dream. In the event your tub has a residual green ring from soaking your collards, no worries. We have perfected our formula for the cause, inspired by our illustrious VP Kamala Harris. Can you believe when she said, we make greens? All of a sudden, yeah, baby, we made no collar. All of a sudden, she's doing it. Oh, dear God. Stolen Pallor streaming. You are so punny, my friend. I'm going to put you in the punny penitentiary. Very punny. You're a piranhamasiac, which is, of course, the actual name for this. See, I hate liars. I just hate liars. Just tell me the truth. It's one thing about Trump. Trump says, this is who I am. I'm born in Jamaica States. I'm rich. I'm not going to wear a funny hat. Not going to wear anything like that. I'm not going to pretend I'm not going to be Hillary. Remember when Hillary was throwing it back and she was pretending to be some Boilermaker or some steam fitter or whatever the hell she was. I hate that. I love people who are exactly who they are. We will like you who you are. We will like you who you are. It's just, that's it. Just be legit. That's all. And how can, honestly, do you feel that anybody truly likes her? Do you believe that anybody honestly sits there and says, I like her? I love her style. She was on some show recently. I don't know what it is. I think Candace Owens showed it. She was it was a football show or something. And immediately she goes into the black voice. It's disgusting. Nelson says, just purchased my cutting room tickets. Come on, peeps, down. God bless you, Nelson. We'll see you there. We're going to take plenty of pictures there, Nelson. Doggone it. Stephen says, have you ever noticed just how big Shipley is? Oh, yeah. How about his hair? How about that hair? I've never seen hair like that. It just keeps growing. It's like and his wife, Diane, I think it's the best show in the world. I love these liars. And they walk around in the uniform with the wrong. I don't get it. Pilgrim Media says most humans can auto-detect insincerity. Yep. You know who can too? Kids and animals. By the way, if you're going to pretend to be a Navy SEAL or a Special Forces or whatever the hell you want to, don't you think somebody would say, hey, listen, do me a favor. I'm wearing a uniform. Am I doing something wrong? Yeah. I like when they say, you got your cover on, you got your rock to it, you got your ribbons are in the wrong order. You didn't get 3 Purple Hearts. You did. I mean, you would think somebody would do this. That's like you would think the Democrats would say, before we put somebody out there to run, we're going to make sure they're not just complete idiots. We're going to make sure they're not complete idiots. Do you understand this? Do you ever ask yourself the question, how do they not know? If somebody told me, look, let me explain something to you. Yeah, I know she's an idiot. I know she's an idiot, okay? I know it. I know she's an idiot. But let me tell you something. I'm not voting for Trump. But I know she's an idiot. I'll live with that. But nobody is telling me she's great. She's not great. She's not saying anything. She's never said anything. Nobody has cared about North Carolina. Nothing. This dock strike. Let me tell you something. You know, the West Coast is saying now, oh, Boy, they went crazy with that one. Ooh, that's good. Not only dock strikes, truck drivers, other people. See, there was a time in the old days when the real Democrats, the socialists, the people, Europeans love it. Love it. You know this is going to happen. You know it. And I don't know what they told old Daggett. I don't know if they threatened him or what, but they didn't care about it at all. You know, Trump would have said, we're going to sit down, we're going to work this thing out. They don't care about anything. How about the fact, ready for this? They're trying to make a big deal out of the fact that Bibi Netanyahu in New York, in the United States, picked up the phone, called in a kill order on whatever it is. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of what, I mean, he's sort of their commander in chief. I want you to understand something. You see, you're being told that everything's groovy, that America doesn't care about it. I mean, a lot of people they're not talking about Italy, Israel, but I am telling you, this is going to hit the fan. Do you know what's going to happen? I don't ever want to do this, okay? I don't ever want to do this. I don't ever want to go out and say what I think could happen. Not that I'm going to give anybody an idea. Not that but I feel like I'm tempting fate. I feel as though I'm doing the wrong, thing. But I got to tell you something. If somebody told me to go into a country and do something to a country, and I'm a bad guy, I'm going to say, I don't want weapons and missiles and no. I want to go in and show people how vulnerable they are. Forest fires, derailing trains, little things, stupid things. In little towns, not big towns. I want people to know that's the whole notion of what a terrorism is. And we have basically told, there's some pictures of, you see what the Houthis are doing in Yemen. There's this one called the Bab al, whatever the Gateway of Tears or whatever, this one little inlet. This is where everything goes. If Iran decides to scuttle a ship in the Straits of Hormuz, gas goes $20 a gallon. You don't see, this is the part. We're so lucky. It's like, imagine, like you've been smoking 5 packs a day. And you go to the doctor one day and they said, we found this kind of weird spot on the lung. And it turns out it's benign. There's nothing to worry about. And you want to ask somebody, do you know how lucky you are? You've got to stop this. This is just chaos. It both. Today there were pictures of people. Did you see the people at Costco buying toilet paper? Do you know what's going to happen if one day there is just, and again, nothing huge, just something that says, let's shut down just to play it safe. Remember a while back when they had those supply chain problems on the West Coast? Remember that? They had, people felt it. We are so precarious. And don't think for a moment that people aren't sitting back and they're realizing this is what happened. America couldn't handle this. Director says, if Trump was president, no dock strike. Well, put it this way, I heard somebody today, you ready for this, say, well, AI, it's stupid. I mean, this is just automation and you got to get used to it. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is that the way you look at it? It's just like no big deal, automation? Are you kidding me? I got to tell you something. I don't, and I'm being honest with you, my friends. What scares me are never outside people. Not the Russians, not the Chinese, not the Houthi. They don't scare me. They don't bother me. Americans scare me. Americans scare me. Did you have a moment during George Floyd? We're here in New York. I'm seeing stuff. I remember hearing all these. I'm thinking, are those fireworks? Remember the military grade fireworks? There was a sense of just spread the word, say the word. And they wanted there to be, because remember something, and you know this, the classic Hegelian dialectic. And it's actually, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. But you know it as problem, reaction, solution. If I want martial law, if I want to shut you down, what do? Declare it? No. I let you rise. It's like, ladies, it's a yeast infection. I just kill off the good bacteria, the bad bacteria, lactobacillus, and the bad bacteria comes at the top. And it festers and it goes crazy. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Absolutely 100%. And then I'm going to say, somebody says, do something. Okay, we'll do something. Lori Cuck says, please look at Trump's executive order 13814 10/2017. I will do that. Doc Strike is going to put a dent into Harris. Well, the doc strike, luckily we heard tonight, has been postponed until January. But that's not it. Let me ask you this. Do you believe that the automatic or the ballots have been secured? You think you're sure about that? I tell people this and they look at me like, are you talking about the ballots? Yes, I'm talking about the ballots. I'm not talking about the machines. I'm not talking about machines and algorithms. I'm not there. I'm talking about ballots. Do you understand what I'm talking about? I'm talking about ballots. I'm talking about ballots. Mail-in ballots. Are you familiar with that? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. People look at me and they still are you equipped? North Carolina took 750,000 of them away. 750,000. 750. Did you hear what I said? 1,000. People who were dead or deceased, same thing. People who had never voted, people who moved. It was incredible. I don't want to always portend doom. That's not my thing. But I want to tell you how I think things would work. And this is what, remember, during COVID, during the Rona, this was a dry run. This was a beta test. This was a dress rehearsal for martial law. They want it so bad. What do you think we went through before? That was a biological martial law. What do you think that was? I mean, people walked around. What happens when you shut down, when you prevent weddings and graduations and sporting events and funerals and people celebrating their faith, religious? What is that called? What do you think that was called? Remember that? That was a dry run. It was also interesting to see how things can be operated, because remember something. When you have that run through, you're seeing how the government can work when mobilized, irrespective of the cause. Here is something for you. Remember this story? Remember this story? In 2012, do you remember this story? I remember one time I was on the air. Social Security posted a notice that it was purchasing 174,000 hollow points. Remember that one? Remember those stories? I was like, what? Do you remember when the government bought these, not body bags, but these almost like coffin shields? Remember that? Do you remember all these things that happened? Do you remember years ago when Rick Perry ran through the Gardasil? He wanted to run Gardasil through Texas. Remember that one? This was before. Do you remember the Trans-Texas corridor where they were going to run a NAFTA superhighway from Canada down to Mexico? Do you think this all goes away? Do you remember the talk about the Amaro, our own particular version of the Euro? You see, when you hear a story, you got to remember it. Put it aside. It doesn't go away. All this was front and center. Let me tell you another thing. Remember something. When Republicans are in charge, the bad guys, the scary ones, are the terrorists, or the foreigners. See, everybody, whether it's Bush, whether the people that we worry about are elsewhere. When Democrats are in power, their boogeyman is local. Remember during Clinton, it was a militiaman. It was Randall Weaver and Gary Koresh and Branch Davidians and the Mayak report and constitutionalists and Tea Party. Remember that? Because the Democrats fear you. Republicans fear foreigners. Remember that one? That's the way that works. The government fears you more than anything else. And don't think for one moment that there is not set into action things that can be turned on immediately. The first thing that is done is to shut down free speech and expression. They try desperately. Thank God for Elon Musk. Thank God for Elon Musk. I can't say it enough. The first thing they want to do is do everything in their power to shut down your ability to point out things. And they're doing everything up to and including. That's why Hillary Clinton and John Kerry and all these idiots are asked to come forward and just spew this nonsense about how misinformation. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not a doomsayer. I'm telling you, I know what they're going to do. They tell you this. They tell you this. Every time they do something, they learn. It's just wait. They check you. They look what happens. They see what happens. They put their toe in the water. What is this feeling? You don't need a strike to have supply chains. No. You can have a strike because you might want to have somebody who figures, you know what? I'm going to short out some product or something like that. The other day we had Bank of America. Remember that? All the accounts went, these zeroed out accounts. What happens if all of a sudden you can't get money? Think about it. Just think about this. One day, for some reason, there's because you're being set up. It's called successive approximation. They are habituating you to the notion of it. Successive approximation is what Skinner talked about how you remove fears and phobias. You're afraid of snakes. Day 1, let's talk about snakes. Day 2, let's look at a picture of a snake. Day 3, let's go to the zoo. Let's go to a herpetarium. Day 4, maybe you can even touch a snake. Successive approximation, little by little, to habituate, condition, get you used to something that you fear. Then there's the implosion effect where they just throw a snake at you and, that's not advised. You're being set up. You're being told little by little, bit by bit, and you're being inundated. And remember something, the only time that the shadow government is involved in anything of worthwhile is when what you're saying is true. It's the only time. They don't care about stuff that's not true. They don't give a damn what you say. You can go on TV and say, I'm eating lard. Okay, whatever. I'm not eating. I'm eating, okay, whatever. I'm a placenta phagia, whatever. There's no misinformation. If you mention vaccines, different story. The only time they care, the only time you take flack is when you're over the target. Think about this stuff. They don't care what you have to say. They don't care about Diddy. Say whatever you want about him. He's not important to them. Director says the smartest people that I know vote Trump in 2024. There's a reason for that. the smartest people that I know who vote for him are also people who are a pragmatist, who are realists. See, realism is the hardest thing to do. I can't tell you how many folks I have, and we know in our how do we say this? Our family and friends and young people I love to talk to, especially when I say young, it could be under 40. And I'm seeing more and more an inherent conservatism. The number of people that I'm hearing who have absolutely no tolerance for abortion astounds me. My friends, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Hang on a minute. This is Mrs. L. Just a second here. She's important. Not that you're not. Hang on. Anyway, thank you for this. Thank you. Remember, preparewithlionel.com. And don't forget our other great, great friend, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. The great Mike Lindell, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. They support us and we support them. October 26th at the Cutting Room, October 26th. Everything I mentioned, all of the sites are on the discussion section. I love you. And by the way, you have been so terrific tonight. Thank you, Director 97, Lori Cuck, Pilgrim Media, Stephen Lynch, Nelson A., Streaming Analytics, Edie Crowley, we love you, Freedom, Lori Cuck, Brad Rung, CR, Crypto Domini, I think it's Joseph Sola, and who else is here? I think we got Linda Hazlitt. Thank you, Linda. Flojo's Vlogs. Thank you. CR, you're beautiful. Thank you so much. Old Buddha of Wisdom. And George in Texas. Thank you all, dear friends, for your kindness and your greatness. Have a great day. Don't forget, more videos dropping tonight at Lionel Nation and Lionel Legal. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Don't forget, follow Mrs. L. Thank you so much for signing up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Don't forget Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors. She's got, wait till you see the Diddy stuff. It'll blow your mind. All right, friends. Have a great and glorious day. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. And don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dead.